Welcome to the Golden Feather. Grab a pint, a plate, and pick your seats. Your hosts Vertek and Chibi are back from their latest adventure.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Golden Feather. Today is, what is today? It's like the 20th of
20th?
May. We were just talking about how fast time has flown this year. 122nd episode. Man. So today we have an episode called McStackerson because there's a lot to talk about enchanting on the forums and, the whole Intrepid chat thing too. And we have with us here McStackerson, aka Stackerson. What do you prefer, by the way? I've seen it both.
Whichever. I don't have a preference.
Whichever the keyboard lands on? Alright.
Yep. Whatever's easiest.
How you doing today, by the way?
Not too bad. It's been a pretty relaxing day.
Good.
I can agree
Relaxing
to
days
that.
are great. See a little, looks like a fluffy puppy back there in the background.
Yep.
I see a little nose poking out.
That's Nina. Yep.
Having a very
Yeah.
relaxing day back there, too. So, for those of the audience who may not have seen you before, do not know who you are, somehow have not bumped into the name, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where you typically hang out? What brought you to Ashes?
Yeah. McStackerson. I'm usually on the forums. Been part of the communities for over 5 years now. I joined like the February before the Kickstarter, so I've been around for a while. Yeah. Pretty much just on the forums, sometimes on the Discord, but mostly the forums. Also on a podcast every other Sunday with Big Cheeky Giant.
Big cheeky. I like it. I might steal that from now on. So, what brought your interest into the Ashes realm, especially before the Kickstarter and everybody really started chatting about it?
So it's funny. I don't know if you knew maybe I won't tell that part of the story, but I kept on seeing a video advertised for a MMO regarding its flagging system, and I didn't think too much of it because I thought it meant like a PvE flagging system, and I was like, I won't, not my thing, so I wasn't going to look at it, but it kept showing up. I was like, I should probably just not be ignorant. I should check it out. Ended up being something completely different, and I like that it solved an issue that I saw in the previous game I played, BDO, which so from there saw the node system. Was really happy to see that solved issues I saw in another game I played called Darkfall, with that had territory control, but it was all guilds. So you had to pretty much, if you wanted to play the game, you needed to join a guild. And I liked how the node system was territory, but like anyone could walk up to a node and be part of it. So from there, I started sticking around the community. Just really excited for it.
Nice. Yeah.
Ah, thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to what do we call them? Regularhood? Patron? I don't know.
Bumbichi. How do you pronounce this? My goodness. I want to say thank you, but I don't want to get tongue-tied and say something inappropriate.
Like that's ever happened here before.
Yeah. Because, we're 100% family-friendly language. I mean, we try to be, but,
Close. Well, I mean, there's the one time I didn't know that was a curse word in a different language. So.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were totally, what was it, reading off somebody's name or something? Like 17 times?
I thought it was a name. Yeah, no, it was bad. I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Welcome in. Thank you for the Prime sub. And if you could give us the phonetics, we'd prefer to say your name properly. It's from a German Christmas song. Oh, I love it. I love it.
Okay.
Hello, Cash. Welcome in.
Beautiful.
But yeah,
Right.
I'm actually really happy to hear somebody else from like around that time. I only joined like May of that, so like ooh, 5 years of being here now. But I was doing finals and stuff like that, so I was getting done with those, and I was tired of playing World of Warcraft, and I was like, what else can we do? And I'm bored. Let's find a different game, and that's how I found Ashes. So it's kind of neat finding someone who's, aside from Vertec and a few others who backed it, who was there before the Kickstarter even. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride last 5 years.
Indeed. And we thought initially this year was going to be the thank you, Bahusafu. Cheers to you, friend. But yeah, we thought the game was coming out this year initially because that's what we had hoped for. But I think Steven has learned that the game is not quite that easy to make in 5 years.
Yeah. Well, luckily, it seems to be shaping up really well. Oh, am I muted?
No, you're good.
Oh, no, it was me. It was me. Yeah, he's tamed the eagerness just a little bit, which is, a good thing. Good thing.
Yeah.
Keep some hopes in check.
Yeah.
So, Stackerson, usually ask people, what's your favorite part of Ashes? What's got you really hooked? But instead, since you do a fairly regular podcast that's been going for a really long time, what is your favorite thing to talk about when it comes to Ashes? Not necessarily your favorite thing, but what do you find most interesting to actually have conversations about?
It's tricky.
Good question.
Because usually what I have conversations with is topics I disagree with people on. So they're not the most pleasant. The cognitive dissonance of those conversations aren't probably my favorite. I guess the most fun thing to talk about would probably just be Tolnar and the possibilities. When the game initially announced, they said they had 8 races, but they didn't tell us like 2 of them. So I had hopes for like a monster race or something like that. When it originally was announced at Kickstarter, they said there wasn't a monster race, but then halfway through the month, they added it for a stretch goal, which made me really happy and had me every day calculating how much more money we needed each day to get that stretch goal.
Each day.
Yeah, I would.
Nice.
I forgot the math I did. I'd do like the amount needed divided by the days left, and like the value would be going down, which would mean we were on track, or at least I think that's how the math worked. But yeah, it happened. I'm really happy about it. I'm a big fan of like Warhammer Lizardmen, and I've never really been able to play a character like that in a game, so I think I've just always had an itch for it, and have probably been a little too excited for it.
So, you're probably one of those on the Tolnar bandwagon waiting for the ever constant wait of Tolnar information.
Yep, I'm content waiting.
Someday.
They can take all the time they want. I did I assume the longer it takes, the better it'll be. So
yeah. Well, I figured they have to probably get the base of a lot of the other classes together first before they can mix them.
Yeah.
So.
Which is nice to see them put so much time in those ones. So
yeah.
I feel like the better they are, the better the Tolnar will be.
Yeah. Right. Yes, Bahusafu. Arcade, I heard, has had a lot of good days, especially in its prime, as you mentioned. But with that being a kind of, I would say, impression or inspiration for Ashes, I think we'll see some pretty good stuff.
I mean, all these conversations that happen around Arcade and Lineage, I think I really missed out by not playing those.
Yeah. I didn't get to play Lineage. I was playing Arcade, but there was Darkfall was kind of the game I want to equate closest to Ashes, which was, it had many issues, but there's something about like the player politics that I really loved and was searching for a game that would have it. Like Arcade was one of the games I followed because it seemed like it would have it, and it kind of did. But it also had many other issues that kind of worked to its detriment. So I guess that's what I'm most excited for is like the it's I don't know. I feel like it's kind of cliche, but like the feeling that you're like a character with agency in like a virtual world. It kind of feels like you're a part of it when you have like some control, even if that control is more aggressive in nature. But it's still, I enjoy it. It's a fun time.
Yeah. Bahuzafu liked 11.
Oh man, 11 was very hit or miss for me, and by hit or miss I mean the gameplay I enjoyed, the combat I loved, the classes were fun, but I didn't make it past. Well, I never got to get a mount, whatever level that was. I never got to that level for sure, because I got tired of running all over the place, everywhere. And I know that quests are supposed to guide you through the world here and there and everywhere, and you're supposed to run around for a really long time and explore the world before you get a mount. I can totally appreciate that. But when they had me running 20 minutes to get to a quest point, and then nothing else I can do there quest-wise, and then I have to run back and turn that in, and then I get one other quest that pops up that takes me another 20 minutes in a different direction, no, I had to throw in the towel at that point. I can't do this. No clue what the rest of this game is going to look like, but it's a bad sign so far.
Yeah, I skipped 11 too. I had a friend who played it a lot. I heard it was you pretty much had a group to do anything in that game. Or that's what I heard. We're talking about Final Fantasy 11, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah, it's very the people who loved it loved the bejeebus out of it. For sure, though.
Yeah, totally group-based play, apparently.
Oh yeah, I think I saw some streamers playing it recently. At least like a private server. I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Those who like that kind of play style are gonna probably get along with Ashes pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You
Considering you need to get a mount first, and then you can apply skins to it. And then aside from that, there's no flying necessarily. You can glide if you have a gliding mount, but you have to jump from a really tall place first. So
that's right. I'll be climbing all the tall places, so eventually I'll need to jump from them. Gliding mount is going to be needed.
Yeah, arcade shed gliders. They're fun.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of a good compromise between flying mount and not, I guess. Flying mount kind of takes away a lot of the exploration. With gliding, you still have to kind of explore and get yourself really high, but then you have that fun ability to just glide down and see everything.
Yeah, return safely without having to climb down each and every individual step of the mountain. All right, well, hey, thanks for stopping in, Bahuzafu. Nice to see you, and thank you for the bits.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you. We really appreciate it. Trying to get the choo-choo started. But yeah, it was a good bit of stuff they've shown off recently, like this ice-ish area with the flowers. That's a newer thing.
Yeah, it was this one maybe it's been lost in time, but this was from the Ultimate the Unreal Engine 5 reveal.
I always love it when
though.
Almost forgot about it, but yeah, it was nice seeing like the crouching.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's because
being able to. Sorry, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say I think it's because it's been like 6 months since this came out, and it's not really shown very often. That's actually why I jumped back to it, because it's been so long.
Yeah.
It's a refresher though.
Yeah, exactly, refresher.
Yeah, the Dwarven Tower in this one looked pretty nuts, and I'm curious how they're gonna get you up there from all this area, because apparently it's supposed to be supposed to get up there from here, right? But didn't he just jump on a flying mount and just zoom up there?
That's how
Cheater.
he got up there. Yeah, he cheated. I don't remember if we saw the path up. There might
I don't
have been
think
like
so.
a ramp.
'Cause I was trying to look for it. Actually, you know what?
I wonder if
Thanks for
there's like
talking
a
about it.
back way that's like going through cave exploration stuff too.
That's what I'm thinking.
Dwarves in their caves.
Maybe go through a cave at the bottom, or an entrance at the bottom, and you have to climb all the way up through that big old monument there.
Yeah.
And pops you out at the top. I don't know.
Maybe. I guess that's something we're just gonna have to explore.
That's what Golden says too. I think it's like a tower. You just gotta go up the stairs. A lot.
Yeah, right.
Especially if they're dwarf height stairs.
Goodness.
But speaking of races? And dwarves and stuff. So Marzo on the forums actually brought up something. Apparently people are saying that they don't click with any of the races as of right now, like the 9 available races. What do you feel about that? Do you think that there should be more variety, or do you think it feels just about right, or kind of still hoping there's going to be more, with the exception of Tulnar?
I am always one for more options, more freedom. More freedom to create like whatever you want. Without seeing Tulnar though, I don't know if we could really say that. I'm sure there's something I know people want like insect and avian races. I'm open to it. I guess I'm not against it. I'm fortunate to think I'm getting what I want in Tulnar, but it's kind of one of those things where it's like I don't know.
Well, at least you're not an
I'm not
avianist,
against it.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. They had Blood Elf, I think, Goblin, Orc, Tauren, Troll, and Undead. I don't know. I know the Worgen got added in at some point, but they had Draenei, Dwarf, Gnome, Human, Night Elf for like Horde and Alliance, and that's like 8 or 9 different races right there. Although the Night Elf and Blood Elf are like at odds with each other as far as like being essentially the same race.
Yeah, and I know,
but
what was it? Blood Elves and Draenei were added in an expansion, and then there was the
wargs were
Worgen
added.
and goblins.
Worgen and
goblins.
goblins.
Yeah.
Okay, so like if
And
you take out
pandas.
and pandas, yeah. So if you take out those 5, that left you with like what, 5 options?
I think there was 8. Wait. Originally 8 total, so 4 per faction, and then
Okay.
it would be 5 with the 5 with Draenei and 10 total with Draenei and Blood Elf, and then 12 with Worgen and
So I don't think this is too bad. This definitely leaves room for additional options in the future.
room for
And,
growth.
we're not like against each other like World of Warcraft with like Alliance and Horde factions. It's more like you against the entire world or with the entire world. Who's to say? But I think it's a decent amount for the game trying to be like an indie game, because that's what it is, and 2, being created from the bottom up by not even having an entire studio to back it and everything necessarily. So like all of that time that was able to be put in World of Warcraft in a fraction of the time that Ashes is able to do it, because they have like a fraction of the people. I feel like it's a pretty decent number to start with, and a decent amount of work as we could already tell but they've definitely put in their time and their effort into it, as you can also tell from seeing the different races. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, WoW launched with 8. That's a lot. So Ashes won't launching with 9. I think that's reasonable, very reasonable, considering there's a lot of MMOs that are only launching with like humans. Plus the Tolnar have so much customization. They're like at least 3 races in one.
Yeah, I was just going to say exactly that. There's going to be a completely customizable and moldable race to do a whole lot with for those who like the creature types. So that should keep plenty of people satisfied with that. And yeah, room for growth. Lots of stuff to do in the future.
And for Steven to run away from a deer.
Yeah, as he does.
Angry deers.
As he does. Right.
Well, but then, speaking of growth, so growth in a game typically implies some grinding, right? Well,
okay.
Dead Man's Price on the forums was also talking about trying to get some input on what would you consider a good grind. What game have you played that had a grind system that did feel good? And what would you like to see out of a grind system being implemented into Ashes? And for those who haven't played a whole lot of MMOs, the grind, so to say, is just trying to push through levels to get from one level to another is really it. I mean, it can be used for a lot of other terms, but that's where it really came from, is going out and just grinding mobs and slaying things to boost your level up and whatnot, things outside of questing and whatnot. Or you can go through the questing grind, even people have started to call that too. So just means progressing your character slowly but surely in a very grinding mechanical fashion.
Do you have any?
I guess I mean, I think part of it is so the game has to, like, I think combat has to be fun. If you're going to do something for hours, you have to like enjoy doing it. So that I think a lot of that leans on the combat. And then I think I want to say part of it has to do with like what you're getting out of it. It kind of sucks if you're spending a whole lot of time, like days or weeks, grinding something because it's required to like play certain aspects of the game. So, but I mean, that's also at odds with the incentive, where like the incentive is usually like vertical power. And usually vertical power is kind of all relative. So if one person could get it, like everyone needs to get it.
That makes sense. I like the way Final Fantasy does it, where you don't feel like you're grinding necessarily because you're just doing quests that give a decent amount of XP. Are you kind of doing one of those like, okay, I go over here, I get your bottle of wine, then I take it over there, and then I give it to this person, and then they do something with it. So I grab it from them and I bring it back. Like, yeah, but that's going to be in every game. It's part of it, but at least it's something. Maybe there's like a little bit of lore to do with it. Maybe it's going to unlock something kind of nifty, like some, I guess, like rings or jewelry or something that'll help with the like accessory leveling up. Stuff like that I've really enjoyed. I don't really enjoy sitting there fighting like a mob brainlessly for hours though. It doesn't really appeal to me personally, just because for one, I'm not usually a tank, so I don't usually get the ability just to be like, stand there and slay all the things. It's usually like me fighting one thing and trying not to die, and then me fighting another thing and trying not to die.
It's when you gotta bring a bigger stick and kill it quicker.
Yeah, that's when I bring a Vertec and I go running and I'm like, help!
That's what I do. I wrangle
That's my
stuff.
bigger stick. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to like grinding stuff, I I think it's got to be varied. There has to be a good variance to everything. Like, even for that matter, just a good environment that just looks pretty and is fun to look at and just observe things, little hidden tiny things here or there that you may not have noticed before and whatnot. Also, as long as it's not a pain in the neck to be able to gather things, being able to quest through and slay monsters in areas that have gatherables is nice, because that'll mix up the monotony a little bit too, because hey, slay, oh look, a rock, let me go ahead and chip that up, yay. But if you have to go and get into a whole separate gear set, and hopefully nothing attacks you while you're changing, and then hopefully nobody attacks you while you're changing back, and it just, that becomes a chore, and that makes it not as enjoyable. I would say making the enemies interesting as well, so that they are, if not at least engaging, at least entertaining or fun to watch, or fun to just say, oh my gosh, this thing is weird. I can kill 100 of these and just be entertained with like the goofy goblins that like pick their nose in the middle of an attack or whatever the case is, you know? So there's got to be something that makes up the monotony of it. Is what my big stop point of it is.
Yeah, when
I
I played
agree.
Final Fantasy, one thing I also do this in WoW. Whenever I'm questing, I go to other zones as quickly as possible and try to like mix it up and change my environment as often as I can. So I guess the changing things up is always really nice.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
also the other thing.
it'd be cool if they had like a mixture, though, right?
Yeah. That's
Or at
also
least the
something else.
option.
Yeah, the option to just up and go. And it's one of the reasons I've kind of liked the what is it they call it, where they set you to, or the zone to your level, and all the zones kind of flex to your
Yeah,
scaling.
I know
I've
what
kind
you're
of liked
talking
when games do that sometimes too. But that's
Yeah.
something else I've liked to do when the games don't do that, is to push as hard as I can to get to the next area, just to keep it challenging. Because when you're grinding away and you just need to get to whatever level to unlock a quest, I'll go and explore the area and just uncover maps and fight difficult creatures and stuff to keep it interesting while I'm trying to get to that next quest to unlock.
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
that kind of brings me to the next question. Because when you're grinding, you are probably trying to get to a higher level to do raiding and everything. But like, what about food processing? Because you need that for your buffs. For some people, they rely on that to do more damage output for raids and like harder content. For me, I just try to use it to manage my mana sometimes. Charlie Ashwood on the forums was asking about food processing and adding depth to food creation and use. I know that they would like to do something with spoiling timers already based on some of the conversations that they've had. But what about like preservation techniques and required components and stuff like that? I also really like their request about diversity in different regional cultures being reflected in the food.
Yeah, that was a really, really interesting post. Anybody who's curious about crafting stuff or looking to get into the crafting stuff, there's some neat ideas in there. I really like the idea of adding spoilage to food, because, I mean, who in any previous game hasn't had 700 insert random fish that was cooked up fresh that day sitting in your bank waiting to be used for the next month and a half? That's going to be a pretty horrible smelling safety deposit box when you go grab that baked cod out the next time you need to go like hunt through a dungeon. But if it had a spoilage timer, because I know people before have talked about a freshness timer. That's come up before. Like the fresher it is, the better the buff is. But the spoilage thing is also handy because, if it goes bad, you wasted your money, somebody's time, maybe your time instead of your money, or both. And at the same time, it kind of gets some crafted items out of the world, out of circulation. So it keeps both people catching all the food, picking all the herbs, and cooking all the stuff in work. They're always going to be in need. But the processing part I thought was kind of neat. That's something I hadn't heard of, or I hadn't heard anybody talk about before. And the processing part that they were mentioning is to prevent spoilage. You could have things like salting the meat, or let me actually look it up here because there were a few other things that we're talking about. But,
like preservative type things.
Yeah, like salting, fermenting, that type of thing, like jarring stuff. It's still going to spoil. It's just going to take a lot longer. But then you could have people out there mining salt, not only as a seasoning, but also as a form of preserving meats.
Sorry, my brain just immediately went BCG the salt miner.
Yeah. Keep BCG's salt mining business.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, like smoking, so you'd need to go out and cut wood and things like that. I thought it was actually a really cool little discussion.
Yeah, I like
there.
it. It keeps like botany in the loop with cooking, at least.
Yeah, what do you think that would do for complexity of the crafting system, Stackerson? Do you think that would add maybe a bit too much to everything, since everything else is going to be kind of crazy, or do you think that'd be a fun change?
I don't think it has to. I think it could be something where I'm playing ESO right now, and so you mix different ingredients to get different results. So if the way you preserve it has to do with like the buff you get from it, I think that would be fun. I haven't played a game with this, so it'd be interesting to see how it affects the economy, because as you said, you wouldn't want to just like buy 500 fish. So as a producer, you wouldn't want to just create 500 fish, cooked fish. So like keeping that stuff coming out of the economy, I don't know how that would affect things. It'd be interesting, and I think it fits.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty decent. And by the way, I just noticed that Grumpy Guy has a chicken emote. Just a little baby chicken emote.
Magistra.
Apropos.
Welcome.
But no, I think it'd be pretty decent if they did add something like that. I don't think it would add too much complication. You would just need to get people to actually continually contribute towards your rating. If nothing else, that would give casuals something to do when they come on. That would contribute towards a raid is literally like, hey, every week we need fish caught. Every week we need herbs picked. Every week we need something mined. Every week we need all this stuff done.
Yeah, it's kind of like a substitute for time gating. Yeah, I didn't think about it that way, but instead of time gating, it's like a reverse time gate where you could technically grind out 20 or 200s of fish, but that wouldn't be that good in the long run. So it's kind of a way of like limiting people without limiting people.
It's like someone who likes the tradesman lifestyle and is somewhat casual, so sometimes they only have maybe 2 or 3 hours to log in a week. They do their favorite, quest line or whatever that they're trying to progress to the end, and then they go and they gather some stuff and get paid well by the guild because the guild is hungering for all these resources. I think it'd be pretty decent. Yeah.
So we're all pretty excited about Alpha 2. I don't know if we're as excited as Azurite is, who is looking for people, either individuals or groups, who are able to help with testing and everything. They want to try out an 8v8 and get as close to all 8 archetypes on each side as possible. But they are planning on being on a stream with it, which sounds interesting to me at least. But they're looking to recruit people for combat testing. So if that's something that you're interested in, you don't need to be from North America, but having a North American server account would be more simple, I guess, for them. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely check that out. Because I think as of their latest post, they were saying on the one team side, they just needed like a ranger type, I think it was. But I just like that they're planning ahead this far to gather people. And it looks like they're going to keep everything really like cataloged and nailed down to this is how we're going to do this stuff, just to test everything out and really stress test the stuff. Make sure it all works as expected. I might see if I can reach out myself.
Yeah, it sounds really cool.
Yeah, that's something. If I'm on when they're doing it and they need me, I'll join.
Yeah. I think it's this is one of our favorite things with Alpha 1 at least, and so far with beginnings of what it looks like Alpha 2, are people trying to people try to organize events for the community. And we saw that with people trying to get groups of people on that server for going and fighting the bosses, making sure everybody had that experience down, and people trying to help each other, you know, with leveling and stuff like that. I just thought that was really cool, just the community aspect that it took on naturally. But yes, fingers crossed for A2 this year. Very, 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 very hopefully. But regardless, I wanted to bring that up because I thought that was really neat. And I'm just really interested in seeing how people interact, not only with the test that we have coming up, but like using the test to do other things like what they're doing. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be reaching out there, I'm sure, just to, if nothing else, get more information on what they're doing and how it's going.
Yeah. Well, at least like to see the results.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, watch it in action for sure. Because I think this Alpha 2, you know what, I might do the thing that I haven't done with the previous testing and actually take like a day off during the testing to make sure that I definitely have a day where I can play. Because Alpha 1 was just horrible for the two of us. We just didn't have almost any time. In that entire test, I think we got maybe like 15 hours worth of playing.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, him more so than I did with playing, but...
Yeah, that was something we were trying to push to actually be able to do. And we got 15, maybe 20 hours at most of testing. And a lot of it was towards the beginning when it was like, okay, test, nuke. Test, nuke. Test, nuke. Test, nuke.
Also the waiting to get into the test in the first place with the queue. Yeah. So, you know.
It was joy.
Oh, absolutely. Line con, amazing. Best con.
Line con 2022.
But,
okay, so...
Got out of things, sorry.
All good.
Oh, all dandy, all dandy. So one of the chats on Enchanting, the namesake of today's episode, I'm not even sure how to pronounce this person's name. Niker is what I'm going to go with. Niker. Because I think they also post on Reddit with a similar name, and I forget what it was. But anywho, yeah, they were talking about a unique approach to enchanting that I haven't seen a game do before, where currently the plan was to have items decay as you take damage, right? After a while you gotta repair them or replace them, or they break, etc. They were thinking of adjusting the enchanting system so it's not over enchanting, where if you can enchant it so much, and then if you try to over enchant it might destroy the item. Well, how about if all the different main components of the item, let's say each one has 4 main components, right? And when you go to enchant, you would enchant each individual piece of that would then lead towards the overall power of the item. And then each one could be enchanted multiple times to give you a maximum of, say, +8 on the item. But instead of the item, and this part's kind of, it could go either way, but instead of the item decaying over use, it decays over time. But I kind of think it's still okay just decaying over use. But either way, the main point is the more you enchant it, the shorter that timer is between item breakage. So it gets more powerful, but you can't use it for as long before you need to use other resources to refresh it.
So your upkeep increases as you make it stronger.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think that's a cool idea. It's one of those things I kind of would want to play and see like what the vertical power is. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing that makes me curious is how the balance of that would end up going, as far as would that lean more towards say more casual people, or people with lower free money for any reason whatsoever, because they're donating it all to the guild, because they're trying to help friends, because they're insert any reason. They're trying to buy all the mounts in the world, whatever. Are those people with less money going to be more encouraged to enchant more because it's more openly available and less risk of losing your item? Or is it going to be more geared towards the uber rich because they can afford to just keep literally dumping money into an item to keep it enchanted all the time?
I mean, kind of both. I think some of it has to do with like the availability of items at the highest level. Like if the best gear is only coming from world bosses that spawn like weekly, then I would feel like the best gear could only be enchanted to some level until it's just going to break, which then gives that advantage to people who can't do that content, and they can, instead of farming harder content for better gear, they can farm easier content, enchant that easier gear up, with the downside being that they just have to farm the easier content more often.
You know what? I didn't even think about that kind of impact. I actually really like that, because if say a guild isn't quite ready to take on a big bad raid yet, because it just came out or it just got up leveled or what have you, they could still definitely go back to the lower content and just enchant the bejeebus out of those items, get it all the way up to +8, and be almost as strong as the base gear that drops in the powerful raid, or maybe just a touch stronger than the base gear because it's super enchanted. And then they can actually make the effort into getting into that raid now. Yeah. That's an easy domino effect.
I like what Magisto said, and I also agree with Kash, though. Is like, if there's too much decay, then there's like a lot of micromanaging happening on the item itself. But what do you guys think of being able to socket like gear with gems and stuff, kind of like what they have with a few of the other games?
I like item customization. It's kind of fun to get like a strong item and then be able to do stuff like in WoW. You get you get something cool, and then you get to go enchant it, and you get to go put gems in it. So there's kind of like that exciting thing you get to do with this new toy that you got. So I like that kind of stuff.
I like in Final Fantasy 14 where you can add the like piety and stuff like that to your gear. What are those orbs thingies? Melds? Materia melds.
Yeah, materia.
I like that because it does, again, add more of a uniqueness to it. If this is a nice weapon in general for this kind of, because again, it's going to be viable if you're a cleric or if you're a tank or if you're a mage to use a wand, right? Is it going to be as viable? That's to say, but maybe it might be if you are able to add material into it to make it more fitting for your class. So, I think that's kind of nice.
Yeah, I always like being able to add the gems in.
Yeah. Kosh says, I like the idea to enchanted individual stats on your gear. Indeed. But I think, I don't know. Because if you are able to enchant it to a certain level, I don't think that you should not necessarily be punished for having it, because I don't want it to sound like that's what I think it is, but like keeping it up over a period of time. There's a little bit of a micromanage to it of like, man, it was so strong, but I didn't keep up this enchant that I worked so hard to get into, like the level of, and now it's not as strong or whatever. So it's one of those things, I guess I'd have to see firsthand if I would really like it or not. But I would totally understand if you ever wanted to, say, swap out that enchantment with a different type of enchantment. That would make sense to me. So
I think what would be really cool is if you could put gems and such into gear, but then the gem and enchanting could have a little bit of an overlap where they can affect each other, more so than just one gives you more power and the other also gives you more power. But let's say you put a gem in there that says while attacking goblins, reduces item decay or something like that. You could totally swap in gems of, goblin slaying when you're going into a goblin based raid, and there you go, your items are going to decay a lot less, and you just gave a gem cutter or a jeweler some business to cut more of the goblin slaying gems. And you go into a different raid, now you got to pay a jeweler to remove that from your gear and put a new one in there, right? And then you just get a stockpile of different gems that you had to buy from different people, but they could totally work together like that. Or, increases enchantment or, something along those lines.
Yeah. How neat would it be to be able to customize what your enchantment looks like, though?
Oh, I think that, like visual, like the particle effects and stuff around the weapon.
Yeah.
I think that's
because I think that was the first reason why I ever did enchanting in WoW. I realized there was like a particle effect happening in the weapon, and I was like, "What is that? That looks awesome!" And I realized that was enchanting, and I went and I leveled up enchanting just to be able to enchant my stuff because it looked really cool. So.
Yeah, I think the only difficulty with customizing how enchantments look with the particle effects is making sure that everyone can understand what that enchantment is at sight. Like if you see somebody coming through with the super mega power enchantment of face crushing, and it looks like little pink sparkly butterflies instead of the red wispy smoke of doom, it might be somewhat confusing on a battlefield, but you can at least have a visual threat pink assessment.
Sparkly butterflies of death. Come on, you saying my pink sparkles can't kill things?
They look mesmerizing. They don't look threatening. They look mesmerizing. I want to sit and smell the roses with them. But yeah, I think that'd be the only issue, is as long as you can still tell what the enchantment is at its core. I think customization's gonna be cool, like being able to change the color of them, but maybe not the base animation or the base effects maybe.
Yeah. Like the particles stay the same, so it's still like, if it's a fire enchant, it still looks like fire, but it's pink fire instead of normal fire.
Exactly.
So you're being burned by pink fire.
How's that feel?
But
you got beat by Chick fire. Jeez, that's gotta hurt.
Chick fire. Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh no.
The main reason why I brought that up as an opportunity is there was this one enchantment that I liked what the enchantment did. I didn't like the way it looked, and it was like an orb that was like spinning around. Yeah, and I was just like, that doesn't really, it's not doing anything for me. I'm glad that enchantment capability is there, but I don't like the way the enchantment looks itself. Like, I would like it to look way more cool if there's any other way of making it look cool. But hey, Bartik, welcome in.
Bartik. Hello, friend.
Yeah. I mean, that could just be like an option where it's like you can choose to have like an orb circling or maybe just fire up the blade or whatever. And like as long as the orb circling you can tell is fire or water or whatever, it's like the same effect.
As long as when I hit people they explode like a feather pillow, then it's all good. That's all I want out of life. That's the enchantment that I want, whatever does that.
It's just a simple desire.
The Livered says, give me an enchantment that gives me a shield at 2% hit point. Yeah, there you go, actually. Like a little bit of a last gasp kind of thing, like hold your breath. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Stop death kind of enchantments, yeah.
Ooh. So since we have McStackerson on, who has been on BCGs and Cattails podcast, big boss fights and how they could or should work.
Yeah, there was the stream that you guys just did not long ago, and BCG posted up talking about will Intrepid cater to players who think bosses are too hard. What are your thoughts about raid mechanics, etc., etc.? What was the... Did you guys come to kind of some agreements in that one? Because I only watched part of it myself.
I don't think so. I think it's one of those like what ifs kind of things.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, I have part of my thought process is like there needs to be content for everyone, but not all content needs to be for everyone. But also, when it comes to raid content, I feel like the player base has matured to a point where it'd be really hard, or you'd have to have some like ridiculously annoying mechanics for it to actually be that hard. I think most people, we have encountered so many bosses with so many different mechanics. Like, I feel like most things people can figure out. So I guess that's my thought.
That's fair. Thank you, Ashes and Air.
Yes, thank you.
11 months, almost 1 year.
I was just gonna say exactly that. It's 11 months. It's almost a year. Almost a year. Oh my goodness. It's a whole lot of time to spend here with us. We appreciate every moment.
Indeed.
But
Other people fighting you for the boss? Oh, yes. Yes.
Yes, that's gonna probably be the worst of it right there. But I don't think I've ever heard it put into words quite as simply and concisely as you said it. Like, there needs to be content for everyone, but not all content needs to be for everyone. Is that how you phrased it?
Yep. Because
that is pretty much exactly how it should be. Like, everyone should have something to do, but if you're not a master crafter, then you're just not going to be able to unlock, say, the super awesome like crafting quest that gets you a super nifty title and gear and, you know, bonus money every month because you didn't, you know, craft 700 grand master items or something. That's just not for you. And if you're not, you know, a hardcore spend all of your time raiding as much as possible, you're quite likely not going to get the super hard mode raid title or the drop from, you know, so and so in the middle of a hard mode raid or what have you. Like, it's just not your content, so be it. Like, you're just not going to get that. Like, I'm not the big crafter person, so I always was sad to see in some games where people would get really awesome mounts and repeatable things dropped in their mailbox every month because they did these awesome crafting quests that I just had no care or patience to really even bother trying to do. But to them, it was just another Tuesday. Like, yeah, I totally did that. That was easy. All right. All you, friend. All you.
Yeah, for me, like, those are the kind of the things that motivate me to, like, do whatever I need. Like, if I see something that looks really cool, I'll just grind it out. And there are things that I sometimes don't think I'll ever achieve. Like, when I played WoW, I did the Warlord grind in vanilla, and I never thought I would get there, but I did, and it felt really good to get that thing that I didn't think I could do. So
Yeah, that's why I love achievement hunting. Even if it's like your own personal achievement, you're like, I did the thing, and I'm proud of myself for doing the thing. And in that case, one of my things will be fighting a boss without dying to another player in Ashes. Because, yes, I do mean the worst. Because I imagine myself trying to fight somebody and then not really being geared, and somebody else having a couple friends that are geared and then destroying me before I destroy it. And I'm going to be like, I was so close. Because, like,
Stomped.
when I play games by myself, I get mad if I don't beat the boss because I'm like, oh, it was so close. I will literally yell and rage at the game, but I will keep trying. And if you remove said boss from my capabilities of trying it again, not only did you annoy me by killing me, but now I can't actually go back and try to kill the boss and get that satisfaction of I beat the boss, unless it ends up respawning. Yeah. So it's going to be annoying for sure, but will I probably have fun with it? Yeah, probably. Will it be more fun with a group of people? Yeah, probably. But there's a lot of probablys until you can actually play it. So it's been a while since I restarted as a game. Then I played Elden Ring. Had a couple moments I just had to walk away. Absolutely.
Had one of those moments like a raging barbarian in a glass tavern.
He's a barbarian.
Barbarian.
He's a barbarian. You get the satisfaction of killing other players trying to steal your boss. Possibly, if I can even manage to kill somebody. Vertec knows how bad I am at PvP.
Yeah, not so good. Not so good.
Definitely
It's okay, though.
mindset.
That's what we were just saying. Not all content needs to be for everybody.
Right? Deathcore musician. Yes! Got the reference. Love it. Loot!
Loot! Yeah. So here was a nifty thing, by the way. Totally. Oh, unless you had something else, I was going to talk about the cities.
Yeah, go for it.
No, it looks like you had something because you did the super excited finger touchy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I could totally do that. Okay, I see. Yeah. I tell you what, you talk about it and I'll get that ready.
Bard with blood augments, let's go. Yes, I can see that actually. Are you talking about the major cities from Saloum on Reddit? Yes. So, Saloum, clear World of Warcraft player. I was asking if there were going to be any major cities within Ashes, and a lot of people responded with the they're being formed by players, and there's no pre-mades, etc. And they were mainly wondering if we get cities with lore and stuff like that. But
So I think the answer is yes, but they're not going to be like living cities. We're not going to work in them, with the exception of maybe castles. I think castles will be historic places. They existed before the fall, to my knowledge, but besides running into ruins, it probably used to be cool cities.
Yeah. I imagine there's lore of what they used to be about, but not like how the city came to be, because as Bartek said, we create the lore for the city. We make the city become what it is. But I agree with the castles, the ruins, the KLR ruins, the dwarven towers and things like that. There's bound to be some sort of lore behind it as to what it was once before we left and came back to Vera. And I think that'll be fun to uncover, because I know we're not going to get a whole lot of any of that stuff without going into the game, because as much as Steven would love to share, he's keeping all of it like behind closed arms, literally, and closed mouths. Yeah, blueprints and stuff, that'd be cool. I remember during APOC, the very Fortnite moment where you could pick up blueprints and you'd have to run around trying to figure out where to place it. But I couldn't find anywhere half the time. I was like, where do I put this thing even? It doesn't fit. This is a whole flat area and it's saying no. Okay, I don't understand.
I remember.
Or there's like that one rock in the wrong spot. Or you do get it to build, but then it builds like this.
Yeah, it does weird stuff.
That was fun. Just chaos. Chaos.
I love the chaos of APOC. That was a good time.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But I mean, we know about two lore cities. We know about like the Dwarven city, which got the big, which like we had that early dev diary about, and then I assume we'll encounter the city with the necromancer in it. The guy who brought the ancients to us.
Yeah. And since there's not going to be a major city like Stormwind or Orgrimmar, the side question to the topic is, do you think something like that would be beneficial or detrimental to the game? Like, what limitation or boost would cause the opinion of that to change a little bit? Like, would there be a good reason to have a primary city or not? Why or why not? Or like, what would change that? Like, what would have to be different to make it worth it or not worth it? I guess a lot about the game, though. It'd be a lot of core stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, my thought on that would be that the limitation would need to be that it couldn't be like an actual main core or hub type city. It could be like a major point of interest that's in every server all the time, and that would be kind of neat. That way everyone would have at least something common to talk about. Like, maybe there's a couple breadcrumb quests that always start there, and then they travel through other nodes as the nodes grow or whatever. But yeah. But as long as there's nothing that would kind of encourage people to hang out there all the time, I wouldn't see it as being a bad thing.
That area when you first get in, and then there's like the base encampments happening.
Yeah, like the landing zones for the gateways.
I could see those being static.
Yeah, those are probably all going to be static.
Yeah, I guess my line of thinking is kind of like what Bartek said, where I mean the point is to have people living in the node cities,
right?
And so like any static city would, I mean, I think that kind of goes against the node system in a way, because then you have this indestructible static city. I would assume that's how they would want that to work, which like we have a whole bunch of destructible cities, but this one that's indestructible, which is kind of like an inconsistency in the game. And then yeah, I think we kind of want people living in the nodes and like that being their place. And as Bardic said, like that kind of just any big city that would kind of like take away from that feeling of having a home, I guess.
Yeah, almost like back in the apocalypse days where there was like that big elvish looking settlement way up by the volcano. Totally abandoned looking, but if there were just like some settlers hanging around there and they sold like absolute junk gear, but they gave you a place to sell stuff at, and there was maybe some small little interesting quest that hung out there or something. Kind of like a continual outpost that everybody knew and everybody used as a landmark and maybe a staging area, but was never really a let's hang out here for the evening and just chill in town before we do everything.
Yeah.
One of the fun things about Darkfall, at least talking to people who played it, was everyone kind of had the story of where they lived in the world, even if it was like the smallest, most worthless little village. It was kind of fun, just the stories they had. Like they would have, they were called hamlets. So we had hamlets and cities. Cities were like the big places that had walls around them, and there's hamlets that had no walls. But like when you're in a smaller guild, you'd usually have a hamlet, and it would not even have all the crafting stations, and so you'd have stories of it being raided or just having to deal with living in that area and like what you'd do around it. So.
Oh, geez, that's awesome. That actually reminded me of when Vertec and I used to play, I think, World of Warcraft. We'd find these random little nook and crannies that you could go up under, and it was like pretty, and we're like, this is our home now.
Yep, this is home now. Yep, when we got to a new area, we'd always find one thing, like running down the road, and we'd see like a tiny little like ditch over on the side. Hey, I wonder if that goes anywhere. Oh, it does. It's like a weird little cubby hole down here. Okay, this is home now.
Yep. We'd mark it on our map and go back and meet up there. I remember that.
Well,
it was good times. It was good times.
We used to do what we called road trips. And we used to just travel across the map when we were bored, but it devolved into us like always exploiting and trying to get out of the map. So we'd try to get behind Silithus or into Highjaw and Vanilla.
Nice.
Had fun times finding little places like that.
Nice.
Okay, so really quick here. Did you want to tell them about it?
I think you should tell them about it.
Alright, so as everyone knows, I'm all about the VEC, right? All about the VEC. So we ended up going and reaching out to someone to see if we could get a bit of art commissioned. And so I got
of Nerer.
Uh-oh, what?
Bad.
Oh, yeah.
Ask if I'm pregnant.
No. Terrible. How dare you? Just because he isn't here doesn't mean you have to take her place.
Goodness.
But no, this so this is just a work in progress. But yeah, check it out. This may be the new Vertec VEC. We thought it was really cool.
That's
Ended
awesome.
up kind of giving the guy a description of what my VEC would look like, and hey, can you do a doodle? And I just, out of pure description, he popped out with this, which is pretty much exactly what I would like my VEC to look like. Somewhat welcoming, still very aggressive looking to a point, but still a tavern keeper. He's just there.
He's a nice aggressive guy.
Give you a pint and a plate.
Don't mess up his tavern.
Yeah, just don't mess up the tavern, and you'll be all right.
Oh.
The biggest schnoz. Absolutely. It may have been smushed a time or two.
Yeah, you get enough fights, it happens.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's something we got really, really excited about, mainly because we sent it off, a description to this artist, like, hey, yeah, could you do a little art piece for us? And it came back absolutely exactly what we both imagined the Vertec Vec to look like.
So I thought that was
Could not have
really
come up
cool.
with something better. Yeah. Like
I
make
mean,
my
Vec is in
in-game
your
character.
name, so.
Yeah.
The
What were you
Vervec. What did you say, McStackerson?
I was going to ask if you guys were both going to play Vec.
He is. I'm not.
I'll
I
get her to someday.
play Pyre.
Pyre looking really good. Well, I guess what are your thoughts on the Pyre changes? Originally, they were kind of just supposed to be wood elves, I thought.
Oh, I definitely am super loving it. I actually messaged Maggie and I was like, I think you've officially decided which class I'm going with for life. Because as soon as I saw the changes of that, I was just, nope, hands down. Pyre's got me. I'm Pyre. So.
The end. Yeah, there was a look of utter glee on her face when that stuff came out.
Yeah,
I was super excited.
I was really happy with the direction. It's one of those things that I look at, and as a Tolnar, having to wait, like, ooh, this means we're gonna look really cool, right?
I do love the branchlers. Those are my favorite.
I really like the art that one person did. Who was that? I forget. But we had their art on not long ago, where they covered.
Is it the one with the different versions of what it could be?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. So, yeah. Wanted to give you guys a super sneak peek because it's just a sketch, but maybe we'll be able to get it drawn and colored and stuff. But yeah, I wanted to get your guys' opinion on it. We shared the image, so if you're like, I want to look at it again, it's in the subscriber area only. We just kind of popped it in there, like boop, there you go. But when it gets closer to being finished, we might share something in the more general area. Just more of a sneaky peek.
I guess as we start winding down here, just to toss out a few things. Next live stream has been announced. Mark off your. Did you just paywall?
What?
We time gated you because you could either pay to get it now, or you could just wait and get it with everybody else down the line. So it's a paywall, time gate, potato, vodka, same thing really.
We just shared it here too. You could always just go back and pause it and stare, like you know.
Yeah, it's rewind.
Just rewind.
Rewind walled it. That's what we did. But yeah. Don't forget next week, Friday, May 27th, 11 a.m. Pacific is the next live stream. Get your questions in now if you have any. I think we need to look through. We collected a few from people throughout the past month or so, and I think we need to see if any of them have been answered yet, and if not, we're going to get those in for people. If you have any questions you'd definitely like to make sure get asked, we'll drop it in there as well, and see if we can get an extra sneaky double question in there, and they'll pick one of them for sure, right? Maybe. And then the intrepid talk this time around is let's talk enchanting.
Enchanting.
On that topic, Stackerson, what are some features that you would like versus some that you would never want to ever see again when it comes to enchanting?
I guess. I mean, it's kind of weird because enchanting, like many things have been called enchanting, but I guess I wouldn't want to see, I think what BDO calls enchanting, where it's completely required to have like gear, like that's how you progress your gear. So I guess I wouldn't want it to be a requirement with the level of risk that BDO has. It'd be nice.
Oh, Ashes of Neighbor. Where's
the
ban button? Where's the ban button here?
Oh, I got it.
Ashes of Nero needs it really badly. No. No pen roulettes. My goodness.
Found it.
That game, that system alone caused me to lose interest in BDO. Everything else I was okay with. That system alone caused me to leave BDO. I could not stand that.
Same here. It's like I don't want to. One, I don't consider myself a lucky person, but like also I just don't want to spend that much time leveling up my gear with just the RNG. Like,
Yeah.
Either make it expensive or make it really challenging or something. I'm okay with that. Maybe I won't get top rated gear. I'm okay if I just can't reach that tier. But if it's purely RNG like that and my stuff just keeps breaking and downgrading and stuff, no. Not in for that. Not in for that.
Yeah.
Oof. So yeah, I think we're all in agreement there. That's something we never want to see again.
Yeah. I mean, their current implementation of enchanting is fine as long as it's not like a requirement. Like, as long as 2 years down the line, if someone wants to compete in PvP, they don't have to get their stuff to +8. I would be fine with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they balance, I figure as long as they balance everything around the lowest maximum denominator, I don't even know how to word this, like the lowest common denominator being the highest you can get your gear enchanted without putting it at risk of breaking. Balance around that. That way, yeah, you do need to enchant to be competitive, but you don't need to enchant that much. You don't need to over enchant.
Yeah.
That's all you. If you have extra legendaries just sitting around doing nothing and you really want to break a couple of them, go for it. That's all you.
Yeah. Bartek says I want enchants that do more than just raw stats, build enabling things, while the plus level of enchant can be power scaling. I'm gonna have all the extra legendaries.
Oh, here you go, Bartek. Here's an interesting post for you. Then we already talked about this a little bit, but that's kind of what they were mentioning in this post. Was having a horizontal level of enchanting, where you would enchant different skills or different effects or whatever, but then you could also enchant upwards to add pluses for just straight power. But they also had some other suggestions and, theories and concepts around enchanting that were kind of neat, like decay systems, and the more you enchant it, the quicker it decays and gets ready to break, that type of thing.
Yeah.
It was actually a really fun read, to be honest.
For me, I'm just gonna kind of wait and see how they do it and then decide from there, just because there's probably things I haven't even thought about when it comes to enchantment that maybe they're thinking about. So I'm interested in seeing how they plan on implementing it. And yeah, definitely do that, Bartek. It was some really cool reads there. But yeah, I don't know. That'd be kind of neat. And some really nice ideas that the community comes up with sometimes. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then other not so nice.
And I guess before we do some closing words and duck on out of here, close out with a little bit of fan art.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh.
Uh-oh.
You were just teaching me about V Rising.
Yeah?
Both Sim and Captain Redbeard are playing V Rising right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the potential next thing I want to check out. It looks interesting.
A lot of people are having fun with it.
Nice.
All right, so...
And while
go ahead.
I was gonna say, while he gets the fan art together and ready, just kind of keeping an open mind to potential multiplayer games. And I think V Rising might be one of those. but we are getting closer to our 1,000 follower mark. When we do hit that one day, we would like to do a community day and play with you guys, be it if it's this year, be it hanging out and playing something like V-Rising, or if it's maybe in a future year, hopefully Ashes is out and we can do something with Ashes. But kind of adding it to our list and slowly climbing. It's like Rust and Diablo mixed. I've never played Rust. I've kind of played Diablo.
Yeah, from what I've heard, both of those descriptions, Diablo / Valheim and Rust Diablo, that sounds about accurate. Sounds about accurate.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, here you go. So, for some fan arts, here's one. It is a quote-unquote concept art of a mount that they would love to see in Ashes. Double posed. They called it the Aqua Glow Axolotl. So the little like salamander looking things.
I love it. That's adorable. I approve. I feel like that would fit in Vera, especially with the bioluminescence.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like something they would come up with. So yeah, it looks like it fit perfectly. Is that a little pearl on its head?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's definitely very Ashes, like combining clam, oyster, and axolotl.
The something for sure. And then they ended up featuring for Fan Friday or Fan Art Friday this one here, which was
the little Firefox thing.
Yeah, the little Firefox kit.
It was so
Cynical
adorable.
Bean, we've seen them do some art before, and this one is no less precious.
Indeed. Just look at that adorable little face.
You know what
I'll
it'd be
just
neat? We were
burn you if
talking
you
about.
hug it.
Yeah, right. I'll have to find out. I'll take the risk.
Be worth it.
Yeah, we were talking about getting our tavern theme redone. It'd be kind of neat to get it redone in that kind of painting style, though. Maybe not with the fires everywhere and burning down, but.
I was gonna say, you're trying to burn our tavern down, friend? Is that what you're
I mean, we do need a very welcoming, fireplace somewhere, right?
Ooh.
Just not the whole thing.
Ooh. So I happen to be on Twitter, and I need to say thank you to Fupo Headhunter for retweeting this just now. But Ashes of Creation responded to somebody, Jacob Talblar, talking about having exceptional audio is an important element of a superb game experience. That is why we are working with Bear McCreary for our official music. We plan to unveil our official music during Beta 1.
Ooh,
So there you go.
Excitement.
In case anybody wants to go see that specifically, here's that tweet. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. I just happened to be over on Twitter for whatever reason, and it popped up, and yeah. Thank you, Fupo.
Oh, man.
I know Beta 1 is far off, but it's still really exciting. They're releasing it before the game's officially released. It's much closer than the game releases. Just think of it that way.
I mean, it's just after Alpha 2. Never.
Yeah.
It's
Never
just after
super
Alpha 2. it's the very next testing phase. It can't be too far away after that, right? Looks at watch.
True. Alrighty, so who shall we read? Oops, there goes my mouse.
Oh no, chat. Who you feeling? We haven't
rated a beard in a while.
Ooh,
Yeah, Captain Redbeard and Simurg are both doing V-Rising.
You know what? Yeah, it's been. I think yeah. Out of everybody I see, that's the person we've rated the least. This
Okay.
is Captain Redbeard, Tech Deck, Sim.
Ignore that. Yeah.
I will ignore what I did not see.
I don't know if anybody
here.
else saw it, but you'll see it probably in the Twitch Discord later.
Oh no.
It's okay. It's okay.
Whoops.
Captain Redbeard?
Yeah, it's your Captain Redbeard. But as we're getting ready to take off, Stackerson, did you have any closing words, anything you'd like to say to peoples, or any kind of plugs you want to put out there for anyone?
I don't think so. Thanks for having me. I guess I could say that BCG will have a live stream on Sunday at Albion if people want to join that. But
Check that out.
Do it.
Do
Yeah,
it.
well, we do appreciate you coming on. It was great talks. And definitely any other time you feel like swinging by, let us know. We'll get you penciled in.
Yep,
We do a
I'm down for
weekly
any
thing,
time.
so sometimes we do run out of people to invite. So you never know when there might be an opening. Just
yeah, if you ever have an opening, just let me know.
Sounds
usually
great.
don't have
We'll
anything
do
on
this.
Fridays.
We'll do this.
Sounds good. Yeah. You never know. Sometimes people get sick or whatever.
Yeah. It's been known to happen.
Told our best race.
Well, everybody, thank you for stopping by and hanging out with us. Thank you for your time, your attention, your chats. It's amazing. We love you all. We would not be here without you.
I
Hand.
assume we're waving goodbye.
And-
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Catch you folks next week.
Bye.